Hey everybody, Randy Reviews It here. So today we're doing kind of a throwback quick video of something that I've been wanting to shoot for a while and finally got a chance to. So this is a Smith and Wesson 5926. It's part of the Smith and Wesson 59 series. If you grew up when I did, these were pretty popular in a lot of movies. They were definitely issued to like police and things like that. There's a bunch of different variants out there. Smith and Wesson no longer makes these, but I've always wanted to try them and never got a chance to, and I was lucky enough to be able to borrow this from a friend and get a few range trips in with it, and then I'm going to give you what I thought about it. But before that, let's dig in to kind of the internals of this gun to see kind of what makes it tick, maybe what makes it a little different and how it runs. A few cool things about this pistol. So it kind of comes apart like a 1911 almost, where once you slide it to the right area, you just push this pin through, and then you take the slide apart. There's no bushing on the barrel or anything like that. What you'll notice too, what's interesting is when the barrel goes into this, it's really, really tight fit, and that cut right here in the barrel, it gives it enough tilt at that point to get it in and out of the gun. So you can see that locks up tight. If there wasn't enough room for that tilt right here, right at that edge, that kind of cone, if that wasn't crowned like, or I shouldn't say crowned, but like shaped like this on the end where it slopes inward, you wouldn't be able to get the barrel out. So it all fits together really tightly there with that. And rather than having a link at the bottom like a 1911, it's just kind of got that little area or channel that slides in and out kind of this slide area here. So there's just that channel locks in right there. The guide rod and recoil spring fit into the barrel like any other gun. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. It's got basically regular slide rails on this. It's got a decocker mechanism, and then yeah, it's kind of interesting inside. I had no idea what this would be like inside, but I'm pleasantly surprised. All right, so now that you saw the guts of it, what's kind of interesting about it, on how this works. This gun, the 5926, is the version with a decocker only. There's no safety on it. So the 5906 is probably the main version where there's a safety up here that also acts as a decocker. Without that safety up here, it's still got a very large trigger pull. But one thing I'll say is it's really smooth. There's no grit in it. Like, I was expecting a lot of grit. I'm not usually a fan of double action trigger pulls. I've had CZs in the past. I've had a SIG 226 in the past. Everything. Beretta M9A3 is probably my favorite double action trigger pull on a gun. But this is surprisingly good. Like, if you see, like in the shooting video at the intro, I was really, really happy with this gun. Like, it shot so well. It kind of blew me away. In fact, like, after I've shot this firearm, I've been scouring, like, hey, Smith and Wesson, can you make these again? How do I get a red dot optic cut on one of these? How much does one of these cost? Are there mags available? Stuff like that, because I'm actually very, very interested in owning one of these now, and seeing the other variants. There's like, this is the steel frame variant. There's a few alloy frame variants out there too. I'm not sure what the weight is on those. This is definitely heavier than most guns, but it's not otherworldly heavy. Like, I wouldn't put it up there with, like full CZ SP01. This feels a little bit lighter than that, or close to it, or something along those lines. But, with the 4-inch barrel, it's definitely a little quicker to wield and kind of quicker on the comeback. But the single action trigger pull too. So just to get into a few more features of it, it's got a magazine disconnect, so the trigger won't fire. It just disconnects when the magazine isn't in there fully. So let's give this kind of a rundown to show you the single action, because I was really impressed with the single action too. So you see my finger right there on the single action. It hits the wall. There's a little take up, and then it breaks. Like, it breaks really well. And if you know me, I shoot a lot of 1911s. Big fan of 1911s, big fan of single action only guns. The single action on this blew me away. Like, I don't know if it's because it's well worn in or what's going on here, but Smith and Wesson, you had like a real winner on your hands. I would love to see these get brought back and modernized, you know, take away the magazine disconnect, add an optics platform, something like that, because shooting this gun has been like so much fun. I can't express it enough. Like, I've been blown away. Like, when your childhood like dreams and aspirations and you finally get to do the things you wanted to do when you were a kid, like shoot one of these guns, and it lives up to all the hype and then some, that's what I got right now. I guess the term for it would be elated. So I am elated. Like, this gun is amazing. So just to give you, it's got a decocker, kind of like a SIG 226 right over there. It's got the slide release, and that's all that's on here besides the mag release. It's got Crimson Trace grips on it. I'll say the laser sucks on these Crimson Trace grips. It's going to work at night, and I hope you're using a light, which the laser will still suck if you're using a light. So I'm not a fan of it. I do like the rubber grip texture. A lot of these had pretty terrible plastic grips from what I saw. So the rubber texture, or else if you get one with like the hoe grips, I'm sure those are pretty nice. But yeah, takedown's really easy. With a captured spring, it's got some nuances there that make this gun still relatively modern. It shoots so well though. Like, if you have this gun and you're carrying it, don't let any of the new Glock fanboys, the staccato people push you around. This gun shoots amazingly well. Any of the Smith and Wesson 59 series, I'm sure you're going to be fine with. If you have them and you continue to carry them, I know they're a little bit heavy, but if you carry them, full confidence to you. This thing shoots amazing. So I just wanted to give a quick review, show some shooting footage of this thing, give you a breakdown of the internals, because it's almost like a cross between a 1911 and, like, you know, the new like Glock style where, you know, the tilting barrel. I'm trying to remember offhand. I can't think of what that's called. Someone fill it in the comments for me, because right now I have a brain fart. But yeah, just really, really excited with this platform. I'd love to see it make like a new renaissance if things could come back. This has me looking at all sorts of double action, single action pistols. And I'm going to give some more things a try. Like, this really opened my eyes of maybe I shouldn't be going down this single action only 1911 or striker fired only path. Maybe get out there and try some other stuff. I would love to try, you know, some of these Langdon tactical P30s or Berettas that are coming out of there, see what those triggers look like, as well as how those perform now, because this has me curious. I didn't know that a gun this old or a gun this style would shoot that well. And especially for the price tag. You can get these used online for, you know, between $500 and $600. And I would put this up there with most decent entry-level 1911s, which are probably around that $900 to $1,000 mark. So this gun is about half the price. And I would say with single action, it's shooting just as smooth. With double action, it shoots. It had a better trigger than, I've owned 3 CZ SP01 tacticals. This has had a better trigger than all 3 of them. And those are running like $700, $750, maybe even $800 right now. So if you can get this and you have access to mags to it, I would say pick it up and give it a try. It's definitely was a blast to shoot. You know, huge shout out to the friend that loaned this to me. It made a few range trips really, really fun to get out there and shoot this thing. All right, everyone. Take care.